Game 2 of a 4-game series between the White Sox and Mariners tonight. A beautiful Friday evening from U.S. Cellular Field here in Chicago. Thanks for joining us once again. Jason Benetti, Steve Stone along with you. Some days you look up at the marquee and it's just a little brighter than normal. The pitching matchup goes like that tonight.
This is a very exciting pitching matchup, one I'm looking forward to, and it's two aces. One guy won the Cy Young Award, another guy is going to win one soon. King Felix goes to the mound for Seattle. Last time out, he went 8 innings, threw a lot of pitches in the 8th inning. He wanted to complete it, but he fell an inning short. But he looked as good as he's looked since coming off the disabled list. And Chris Sale last time out was brilliant against Oakland. He won his 15th game of the year, now 9 games over 500, looking for 20. And he's got a good chance to get there, assuming that he's going to win and throw like he threw last time out. We'll take a look at the matchup. Now, Felix Hernandez, 4-6 against our Sox, his ERA up close to 4 lifetime. On the other side of the coin, Chris Sale, 4-0 with an ERA of 2.22, so he's been brilliant. They've hit just 173 against him. It's just a great matchup. It's two great pitchers, and anytime that happens, you have to figure a low-scoring ball game.
Well, you saw Sale's numbers against the Mariners. Todd Frazier this year, coming over from the National League, has had a magnificent season against Seattle.
He's going to be very unhappy to see Seattle not on the schedule any longer because he's absolutely crushed them this year. This is a homer against Felix Hernandez, who knows it's gone when it left the bat. But overall, including last night, he's been brilliant against this team. That's a game-winning blast down the line. Would have been normally a 2-base hit. All they needed was a single as Adam Eaton scores the winning run. And 3 driven in last night by Todd Frazier. Batting average against Seattle this year, .353. As you can see, he's had 3 home runs, driven in 10 in just 4 games. So hopefully tonight, along with Abreu and the table setters, they can get the job done.
Sox trying to be thorns in the sides of the American League wild card chasers, the Seattle Mariners, as we light your evening sky with burning love tonight. It's Elvis night at U.S. Cellular Field. Join us coming up shortly. Chicago White Sox baseball is brought to you by Miller Lite, the original light Pilsner. Cheers, it's Miller time. Honda. Get the Honda you love at the Honda Summer Clearance Event, now at your Honda dealer. Xfinity. Xfinity X1 will change the way you experience TV. Ford, America's best-selling brand 6 years running, inviting you to check out our fuel-efficient lineup at your local Ford store or at buyfordnow.com. And by your Chicago and Northwest Indiana Hyundai dealers. Test drive their all-star lineup today. Visit buyhyundai.com. for us tonight. Sox and Mariners, game 2 of a 4-game series here in Chicago. And you look at the pitching matchup tonight. Chris Sale versus Felix Hernandez. It's fun for you, the fan at home. It's fun for us here at the ballpark. And it's fun as well for Robin Ventura, who's in the dugout.
I think you always do. When you see it on the schedule of these two matching up. And I think even in Seattle, when you see those matchups come up, you appreciate it. I necessarily wouldn't want to face either of them, but if you get back and you get to watch it, you always appreciate when you see something like this that kind of aligns in the right way without, nobody forced it to happen, but it's nice when it's on the schedule.
So who was the guy for you that you loved facing maybe the most, or one of the top 3 guys?
Really didn't matter much, because what happens is you believe, especially when you're having an enchanted year, that you're the best. Consequently, you want to face the other team's best. So when you're getting their #1 starter, you're thinking, okay, I'm going to show you that I'm better than you. And that's exactly what's going through the mind of both of these pitchers. They believe that they're as good as there is in the game. And I know Chris Sale believes that he's going to beat the Seattle Mariners tonight. He really doesn't care what Felix Hernandez thinks. Hernandez doesn't think what Sale thinks. They both believe they're the best. And because we get to see it down on the field, it's going to be entertaining.
Be a good time tonight. Sox and Mariners, game number 2 coming up. Sox trying to make it 2 in a row against Seattle. And first pitch is just around the corner. Xfinity, your home for the most live sports. Sox have taken the field, and here's the starting lineup for Scott Servais and his Seattle Mariners. They were lefty loaded yesterday. They don't have a whole lot of options. Got to play some left-handers, including Robinson Cano, who's tied for 4th in the AL with 154 hits. Franklin Gutierrez, the right-hander, gets the start. And the same bottom 3, Lind, O'Malley, and Marte. Lind has been moved down from 5 to 7 yesterday.
Let's take a look at the defense, and how they're going to line up behind Chris Sale. Javi Garcia in left, J.B. Shuck in center, Adam Eaton in right. Then it's Frazier, Anderson, Saladino, and Abreu in the infield. Omar Narvaez gets a nod behind the plate. Chris Sale looking for number 16 on the hill. This is his 25th start. He's 9 over 500, 3.15 ERA. Opponent's batting average, a paltry 2.19. He's had just a great year. And the umpires for the game tonight, Vic Carapazza behind the plate, Paul Emmel at first, John Hirschbeck at second, and DJ Rayburn is at third. So Chris Sale is ready. We're certainly ready for a premier pitching matchup. And I would assume, and I'm pretty sure, that Jason, you're ready to go.
I am, Steve. Thank you.
Go get him.
All right. 27-year-old left-hander out of Lakeland, Florida, Chris Sale, taking aim at the Seattle Mariners, who he handled very well in that series in the Pacific Northwest just after the All-Star break. There is strike number 1 of tonight's ball game. Sale 8 innings of 1-hit baseball last time against the Mariners as Leonis Martin grounds out to Saladino, and we are officially underway without number 1.
It could very well be that the presence of Chris Sale tonight might have aided Scott Servais in letting Kyle Seager's foot rehab just one more night, because he's missed a couple of games. This is the third one in a row he's going to miss, and after fouling a ball off his foot, the last thing you probably want to do is face Chris Sale. So he's getting yet another night off. They expect that he will be ready to go tomorrow.
Mariners thought they might be without Nelson Cruz, who left the game a couple of days ago before this stretch against the Sox with a back injury. He is in the lineup tonight after playing last night, as it's 0-2 on Guillermo Heredia in his 32nd at bat with the Mariners this year. Oh, 2. Check swing, ball low, and he held up. Sox came back last night on Seattle with 3 in the 7th and 1 in the 9th. Todd Frazier, the game winner. That was a very close pitch, 2-2.
Yeah, it looked like Vic Carapazza was ready to go. That one had the strike zone, but he didn't get the benefit of the call. Already at 25 years old, and looks like he's got a chance to be a pretty good one. And there you see it in the zone.
Looked like it was a cross-up with the plate umpire Carapazza because of Heredia feigning the swing.
Sometimes you just lose track, and we'll see if the strike zone tonight will not favor the high fastball.
Breaking ball, strike 3, called on the outside corner or thereabouts, 2 away.
If Chris is going to get that one tonight, it's going to be a long night for these Seattle hitters, because this ball breaks sharply, and probably by the time it got to Narvaez, it was a strike, but it didn't cross the plate a strike. He will take it, however, and again, right-handers trying to hit that ball, you almost have to look out at second base to see where it's coming from.
Lefty Robinson Cano, 2 out, nobody on in the first inning. Sale working very quickly, gets a ground ball foul. Omar Narvaez catching tonight for the Sox, and a catching move just before the game. Deanna Navarro traded to Toronto, and Alex Avila has been activated off the disabled list. First base, Abreu off the flip to Sale in a 1-2-3 inning for the lanky lefty. Sox to the bat rack after this. And Jeff Chanel has left a ticket under his nickname, the Colonel, for Elvis Presley. It is yet to be claimed, but I think he's going to come. I think he's going to get it. Oh, there he is. No, that's Tyler Saladino.
who does a good Elvis impersonation, by the way, if you ask him. Tyler can do the King. He's in the lineup, so the Wig's going to have to go, probably. Eaton, Anderson, Abreu. Morneau, Frazier, and Narvaez up into the 6th spot. Then Garcia, Shuck, and Saladino, your starting 9.
Take a look at the defense behind Felix Hernandez, Heredia, Martin, and Gutierrez, and we're ready for the first pitch. There you can see the rest of the defense with Zunino behind the plate.
His battery mate, 30-year-old Felix Hernandez.
Let's take a look at the numbers on King Felix. He's 8-4. This is his 18th start. He had a calf problem. He was on the shelf for 47 days. Now back in 100%.
Went on the DL June 1st. Activated July 20th, and a fly ball to left field, and Heredia for out number 1 from Eaton. Time to tell you about our picks to click tonight. You can vote online, whitesox.com/pick-to-click. Fans go with Todd Frazier after his heroic night last night. The Crews got Saladino, Elvis. Steve's going with Adam Eaton, who's made the only out so far this evening.
I want to change my pick.
Well, that's good for you.
Can't, huh?
You can lobby, and I'll take Omar.
Jeez.
You stuck. Sorry.
I know.
Adam had a great night last night. Maybe he'll bounce back. Tim Anderson whacks the first pitch he sees to left field. 1 out, 1 on.
Well, what we haven't seen, we've seen a couple of fastballs. We haven't seen the best pitch Hernandez has, and that's his changeup. And it's a real good one. And this is the way you have to approach a great pitcher. And that is when he's got as good a curveball as Hernandez and as good a changeup and as good a slider. You might as well pick out the first fastball you see and try to drill it. And Anderson doing just that. The folks in Seattle pretty impressed by the lively bat. Anderson had 3 hits last night.
7 hits in the season series and 14 at bats against the Mariners for Anderson. And now Abreu takes ball number 1. Jose on an 8-game hit streak, including a 2-for-4 last night. He's got 11 extra base hits in his last 21 games. There goes Anderson. And there goes the baseball foul left field.
Doing the 8-game hitting streak, hitting close to 400 at 393 with 3 home runs, 6 driven in. And surprisingly for Jose, he's walked 4 times, which means that he's seen it very well, because normally when he's struggling, he's not taking those walks.
One on the ground, third base, fair ball. O'Malley to first for out number 2. Anderson to second.
I think for a moment O'Malley might have been doing a little of his own umpiring before he saw DJ Rayburn probably yelling fair. It crosses fair. Doesn't matter that he's in foul territory. He takes a look at second, but Anderson's just too fast, so goes across to first, and Anderson into scoring position.
There he is at second for Morneau. We've seen Felix Hernandez 40 times in his career, 7 out of 40, 3 extra base hits. Off speed and low, ball 1.
Last time out, Felix went 8 innings. He would have gone the distance, but he threw so many pitches in the 8th that Scott Service took him out. Scott Service doesn't have to tell him with a short bullpen, and they only have 6 men in that bullpen. He needs a long performance out of his ace tonight.
Well, last 3 starts, 21 2/3, just 5 earned runs against Felix Hernandez, though the walk total is larger than you'd like to see, with 9 walks compared to 24 strikeouts in those 3 starts, including Saturday against Milwaukee.
That Saturday game against Milwaukee, in talking with a few of the folks around the Mariners, they said that's the first time Felix looked like Felix since he's come back off the disabled list. It was a calf injury, and normally when that happens, you don't want to throw a pitcher before he's entirely ready to go, because anytime you have a leg problem, it alters the pitching motion and you're susceptible to having arm problems.
2-1. Breaks outside, 3-1 on Morneau with Frazier next.
The irony for Felix Hernandez, who you can see in his last 6, he's been pretty good, is that he's only been on the disabled list twice, and it's never been with an arm problem. Once with an ankle problem a few years back, and this year with the calf problem.
There's the right calf. On the ground, O'Malley at third with a nice whirl for out number 3. So Hernandez, who the Sox got for 3 in the first inning back in July, gets through the first, no score. No score after 1 inning tonight. Felix Hernandez versus Chris Sale on the mound. And Sale will face Nelson Cruz, Mike Zunino, and Franklin Gutierrez in the second inning. Only took 10 pitches in the first for Sale. 2 groundouts and a strikeout. Hard hit by Cruz at Saladino. 1 down. Join us tomorrow for our next Sox social game, as we add a social media spin to Star Wars night. All fans who register will receive a special Star Wars themed Adam Eaton t-shirt and have the chance to win other great prizes all night long. Purchase tickets at whitesox.com/Sox Social. You can get your Adam Ewok t-shirt only here at Star Wars night. Strike 1 to Zunino, the young catcher who was 0 for 3 last night with a walk and 2 strikeouts.
Scott Service wants him to control the strike zone. He feels if he has a better idea as a hitter about the strike zone, he obviously is going to hit it better. And he went down to see him before the season started, flew to his home and said, "You're not going to make the ball club out of spring training. We're going to send you to the minor leagues to work on a few things." Now, he's a top-class defensive catcher, but they want him to understand the strike zone. He's got big power. They expect that this first-round draft pick is going to be one of the better ones around.
Here's strike 3. Sale outdoes Zunino, and 2 down quickly in the second inning.
Not going to hit that back foot slider, however. Chris Sale, he's going to get most of them with this one, and he got Zunino. Last night it was the high fastball a couple of times. Today, the low slider.
Still no baseballs hit out of the infield against Sale, as here's Gutierrez, 33-year-old right fielder. And that funky toe tap at the plate.
He won a Gold Glove in 2010. When he's physically able, he is a really good player. But he's been on the DL a lot. He missed a full season.
There's 96 from Sale, ball and a strike.
Chris has got a 96, 97 early. You usually don't see this much velocity from him early in the game, but he must be feeling awfully good tonight.
In the air, right field and deep. Eaton looks up, and this ball is out of here and back in. It's a 1-0 Mariners lead for Gutierrez.
Home run number 12, and he took that ball opposite field. It was a fastball. It was down, out over the plate. And Gutierrez puts a charge into it.
So 1-0 Seattle, 5 straight retired, then a home run for Gutierrez, and strike one for Adam Lind.
You said with the abundance of left-handers on this team, some left-handers have to play. It's not enviable for Adam Lind to have to face Chris Sale.
They have 4 lefties on the bench and 3 in the lineup. Talking to Scott Service, he said, look, this is not a great series for us. With 3 straight lefties, we're a lefty-heavy team, and somebody's going to have to wear it. One and two on Lind. Saladino in short right retires the side, but Franklin Gutierrez gets enough lift to right field, and a 1-0 Mariners lead after 1.5.
WGNTV.com, sponsored by Jeff Vukovich, your local nationwide insurance agent serving the area for 38 years. To join the nation, visit jeffvuk.com because Nationwide is on your side.
Where do you think you go about purchasing
a jacket like that?
A coat for 5-year-old Elvis.
Gold lame. I think she probably made that.
You think so?
No, but I thought I would say it. Maybe, I don't know where you would purchase that.
I don't know what runs through your head
Maybe
on a day-to-day basis.
Maybe at the young Elvis store. Elvis as a tot.
You know,
Elvis as a teen.
What with brick and mortar stores doing such great business, especially niche ones, that's a pop-up store, I feel like. You know, they have these pop-up stores nowadays.
Well, look, you can get that variation of it if you like for the little bit older Elvis.
The open coat look. Check swing by Frazier and no go.
Well, he will be most unhappy to see Seattle off the schedule because he has absolutely torched them this year.
Check swing foul, 3-1. Well, Frazier last night has the intentional walk in front of him. I said, hey, what's your best somebody got intentionally walked in front of me story, and I made him pay. He said he was in Double-A. He had a 3-0 count. He didn't even look, because there's ball 4. He didn't even look at the sign from the third base coach. He said, I'm going to swing away, and hit an opposite field homer on 3-0 after an intentional walk.
That's good.
Yeah.
I think every hitter, even if the situation calls for it, every hitter feels the same way. Wait a second. You're walking him to face me, and then maybe you bear down just a little bit more in that situation.
But nothing personal.
No, you just want to hit one 8 miles.
Here's Omar Narvaez, who saw the avenue open up for himself to get some more playing time with Navarro getting traded pregame. Alex Avila activated as well, so we'll see Alex behind the plate too. Left field and foul, 0-2 on Narvaez. And here is a look at the transaction. The Sox get pitcher Colton Turner, who's bounced from Single-A, low Single-A to High-A to Double-A, and he will go to Double-A in the Barons for the Sox.
When you look at the numbers, and of course we haven't ever seen him throw, but you look at those numbers, he's got to have good stuff because he's got very high strikeout totals.
And Frazier's caught in between. Now he breaks to second, looks back at first, and is tagged out halfway in between.
I think Todd's best idea there was when he was going towards second base, he should have kept on going because you're going to get a run down. They're going to get you out. You might as well force him to make a good throw. So he knows he's picked off here. Felix runs at him, which he should do. Then he throws behind him, and right there you got to run as hard as you can and hope that Lynn doesn't have an angle on the throw. When you get the run down, well, that's about it because you're going to run out of gas before a whole cavalry of guys run out of gas.
Score at 1-3-6-3 on the caught stealing. Five straight years as an all-star for Felix Hernandez, and the funniest part about it is he was an all-star in 09. He was not an all-star in 2010, and that's the year he won the Cy Young.
Well, his record was 13-12 that year, and you looked at the record and say, okay, well, let's find somebody else. Then you look inside the numbers, and he was awfully good. So the appeal to third base, DJ Rayburn says, yes, you did. Narvaez down on strikes.
Let's see what you think.
Could have gone either way, but perhaps a younger player not getting the benefit of the doubt. That was literally a flip a coin, and Rayburn saw it King Felix's way.
There you go with the younger player not getting the benefit of the doubt thing. You know that rankles me.
I know, but that's usually what happens.
He's a human too.
Who is the younger player?
Yeah.
Yeah, he is. He's just a younger player.
I know that's how it works. I get it. But it shouldn't be that way.
Well, yeah. But it is.
Such is life.
So, you know, I just think guys who have much more time in, especially guys that get a reputation for having a good eye, I don't think they're called out near as much as the other guys who don't have that reputation.
The argument then would go, the guys who need the least help with the strike zone get the most help with the strike zone.
Well, that would be a rich get richer philosophy.
Sure
How often
would.
does that happen?
I don't know, but I'm going to go watch Robin Hood. I'll be back.
I remember him and his merry men.
1 and 2. They didn't get the benefit of most of the calls either, as I remember. 1 and 2 on Avi Garcia, who drove in a run last night, part of that win for the Sox in the 9th inning. Comeback fashion, scoring the final 4 of the night.
The changeup, and that was an 89-mile-an-hour changeup. His changeup is so very close to his fastball, but it looks like a splitter because it comes up at 88, 89 miles an hour. You go to get it, and then the bottom falls out of it, and that's why last time out he threw almost 38% changeups, and that's why he gets so many ground balls if he doesn't strike you out with the change.
Check swing, he didn't go. 3 and 2 on Garcia.
Let's look at the career numbers of this exceptional pitcher. 151 and 105. Lifetime ERA 3.12. Opponent's batting average for his career 238, but he's only completed 25 games, which is something that the star pitchers in the late 60s did that every year.
Hernandez strikes out Garcia. We're through 2. Join me and the Sheriff of Nottingham after this.
I want a leg. Nope.
Back to U.S. Cellular Field. Chris Sale pumps in a strike to Sean O'Malley to open the top of the 3rd. And a 1-0 lead for the Mariners on a home run from Franklin Gutierrez. And O'Malley gets hit with that pitch inside. The only question is, was he showing bunt? And the answer is he gets first.
Yeah, Paul Emmel on the appeal said that he did not bunt, and Chris, of course, would like to think that he was actually making an attempt to bunt, but it looked like he was pulling the bat back.
Ooh, that caught him flush.
Yeah, it's right on the fingers. And let's watch where he keeps his fingers, because it looked like he wrapped them around the bat. And now Paul Emmel is yelling into the dugout. Take a look at his fingers. He puts him in a spot where you're not supposed to put them because they are kind of wrapped. You have to pretty much protect your fingers with the bat.
It's a good way to get a base.
Good way to lose your season.
O'Malley's still hitless against the Sox this year, but he's walked a couple times and now been hit. Ketel Marte, who was 0 for 3 last night. Straight back, 0-1. By the way, we told you about the trade. Deanna Navarro going to Toronto. With the roster move, the Sox 40-man roster ends up at 39 as it stands currently. So one spot available on the 40-man. That ball's hit well deep to left field toward the pole and foul.
Didn't have quite enough to get out of the ballpark, but still would have been a problem. Fortunately, he hooked at the last moment. That one hugged the line for a long time before finally hooking to the foul side of the line. Marte's only hit 1 home run this year. This one stayed in fair territory for a long time, but just foul.
3 career home runs in 145 major league games for Marte. Ripped up the middle, first and second, nobody out for the Mariners, and Sale will face Leonis Martin. Left-hander Martin facing Sale, and we've talked a lot about Chris's slider and how he uses it and how effective of a pitch it is. Against left-handers, there's quite the theme to where he's throwing that slider. 1/3 of them down and away to left-handers. Put the left-hander on the right side of your screen, and this from the catcher's perspective. So there you see how many he throws down there, and then you look at how many get hit. That's 0. His slider does not get hit very much by left-handers at all. So 33% of the sliders down and away. They are 0 for 10 against him this year.
I figure Martin would be bunting here.
Let's see. There it is. Third base side. Frazier got a late break on it, and the bases are loaded.
I'm not sure if he thought Chris Sale was going to take it, but he did not charge that ball initially. And by the time he did, it just dropped and pretty much stuck there. Then he had to barehand it, knowing Martin has some big speed. But you see him stay back. He's going back to the bag. Miscommunication on the part of Frazier and Sale. That has to be determined before the pitch. You have to say to Chris, you take the line, I'll go to the bag, or I'm coming to get everything. And when you don't do it, you have both guys waiting back and the bases are loaded.
With nobody out for Guillermo Heredia, who struck out in the first inning looking. On the ground, Sox could get 2. They'll trade the run. There's the turn. 2-0 Seattle, but damage minimized for now as O'Malley scores. Early in the game, you'll take that deal.
There's no doubt. You get bases loaded, nobody out. If you can get out, and you're presupposing you're going to retire a guy hitting close to 300 in Robinson Cano. But if you get out of this with just 1 run, consider it a successful inning.
Hit batter, 2 singles, and the double play. There's a fastball low to Cano.
Having a banner year. He's hitting the ball out of the park with regularity.
There's one of those breaking balls to the left-hander. In the last 16 games, 5 homers for Cano of his 29 for the year,
including 1 last night. There's an example of a good fastball in a pretty decent spot for a guy who's looking fastball all the way, and at 96 he just couldn't square it up.
Two one. Weave and a miss. 2-2.
That was a sweet spot for Chris Sale. That slider low and away. Left-hand hitters have got to get that pitch before it breaks, or hope that he leaves it trailing on the inside part of the plate.
Got a piece that time. Similar pitch further out of the zone.
You know, last year had just 21 home runs and 79 runs batted in. A good year for him, but nowhere close to what he's going to do this year.
We're talking about a month plus left.
He's got plenty of time to put up gigantic numbers.
Self-defense, that one.
Well, occasionally when a pitcher is not particularly happy with how things are going and you see him leaning over to foul off pitches that usually would strike him out, you remind him by throwing a fastball on the inner portion of the plate that you would like to control both sides if you could.
Go right back outside then?
No, slider away. He went with a fastball and he fouled it off.
Marte at third, 2 down. Elvis still in the building. That's good news. We'll let you know when he's left. Swing and a miss. Strike 3. There is the slider away, and the inning's over. 2-0 Mariners after 2.5.
Subway third inning triple play promotion. Text Subway 3 to 97999 right now. The 300th texter will win a $30 gift card to Subway restaurants in the Chicagoland area. Subway, fresh is what we do. And so they're out there looking at Felix Hernandez. If he's had any reoccurrence of that calf problem, he's not going to be long for this game, and they can ill afford that. Last night was a night where Scott Service was forced to go to the bullpen. He used 4 relievers. He only has 6. And they had to cover from the 6th inning on. There's Mel Stottlemyre, the pitching coach, with Scott Service to his right. He doesn't want to see his ace depart this game early. Doesn't want to see his ace depart any game. Not when they're sitting there in the midst of a wild card race, and he seems to think he's okay.
He's going to stay.
Well, look, just to make sure that he is okay, because this game is a game of a lot of empathy.
Yeah.
If I'm JB Shuck, I'm bunting out. And I'm bunting to the first base side because I want him to move, just to check and see if the leg is okay, if it is indeed a leg problem.
See how JB feels. Will he do that? Will he swing away? Find out along with us. One single, one walk through 2 innings. 2 strikeouts for Felix Hernandez, and Shuck takes a strike.
These days, top fastball around 93.
.659 walks for Felix Hernandez when he reached 2,200 career strikeouts. He has the 7th fewest walks all time, hitting the 2,200 mark. Bobble from Lynn, recovery, safe at first.
His leg is not 100%, or he'd have been to the bag. So you accomplish the same thing by not bunting as you would have had you bunted. You get Felix to move to the bag. So you watch him. They're giving him a base hit. Felix cannot get to the bag in time.
Well, if you're watching the replay, don't watch the foot. Watch the ball hit the glove, because the foot's there first. Yeah, JB's in there before the ball hit the glove.
And they give him a base hit.
Leadoff single, Saladino the batter. Wind starting to pick up here at U.S. Cellular Field. And a slight sense of autumn in the air.
Kind of nice, isn't it?
It is.
Temperature 76 degrees. Just a gorgeous night in Chicago. It is Elvis night. Big fireworks display after the game. I think the Flying Elvi will be back.
Well, the stationary Elvi are doing a number so far. A lot of people here dressed as Elvis.
Very nice.
There goes Shuck, and now he's caught up in between. Hernandez the throw. One more throw back to first, and Zunino for out number 2 on the bases for the Sox tonight.
Now the question is, Robin thinks that he balked, unless what he's saying is that there was some hindrance in the rundown. Did he have to run around one of the defenders?
I think maybe a balk too. I think maybe Robin wanted a balk. That Felix Hernandez turned before he stepped off.
Let's watch it again. Let's take a look at what Felix did. Now he's set. He stepped back off the mound before he actually threw, so you're not going to win that one. I thought perhaps one of the guys, when they delivered the ball, might have gotten in the way of Shuck, but that's not the case either. So if there's anything to be learned by this early game, is make sure the pitcher throws the ball before you run if you're trying to steal.
Ground ball to third. O'Malley tracks it down. Foul territory. Cannon for out number 2. This one goes 1-3-6-2. The earlier caught stealing 1-3-6-3. We're waiting for the 1-3-6-1. Join the White Sox Friday, September 9th for a night of music and dance as we celebrate the rich South Side Irish heritage. First 20,000 fans Ages 21 and over will receive a St. Patrick's Day themed cap presented by Miller Lite. To purchase the specially priced ticket package, visit whitesox.com/SPD. Ball number 1.
Felix has both a curveball and a slider. Sometimes that slider will look like a cutter. Sometimes he'll get some depth on it. It actually looks like a regular slider.
That was a hook for a strike.
That was a real good breaking ball. And that most likely was his slider. He did get depth. Perfect pitch.
I was going to say it had some curveball properties. It
80 miles an hour. You don't usually see curveballs at that.
Making it a very effective pitch.
Very.
Ball and a strike on Eaton from Hernandez. Popped foul, 1-2 on Adam. Second pitcher in Mariners history to start 300 games as a Seattle player. The other, Jamie Moyer.
Jamie Moyer got more out of less than most pitchers in the history of this game. Early in his career, he had a hard time keeping his job. Then he learned how to get that changeup over the plate with any count, and he stayed around seemingly forever. And I, of course, helped facilitate his ensuing marriage.
How's that?
I introduced Karen Phelps, the daughter of Digger Phelps, the former basketball coach of Notre Dame, to Jamie Moyer on the field at Wrigley Field.
Wow.
Yes, and seemingly hundreds of children later, no, they didn't have quite that many, but many children later, they have been great citizens wherever they've ever been, great members of the community, and terrific people.
Down goes Eaton. 2-0 Mariners after 3. As well, and we have knickknacks and bric-a-brac on our prize shelf tonight.
It's pretty well loaded with a lot of things you can't have, so it really doesn't matter. I mean, if you win, you get a choice, and then we will give you something we would like to give you there. I mean, the socks are terrific. I can't believe the Bo Jackson bobblehead is still available, but it is. I mean, that's one of the miracles of all time. And, well, the plush Jose Abreu, and he's red hot now. I can hardly touch it.
It's plush. It's probably going to cool off very quickly. But yes, that's a nice little gift.
Very nice.
For the young ones, the plush Abreu. You could win one by playing Sox Math tonight. It's a themed Sox Math this evening.
You had to dig deep for some of those.
Uh-huh. Well, it's Elvis night at the ballpark. So
guess what the theme is?
The Doors.
Great.
2 strikes on Nelson Cruz, who grounded out in the 2nd inning. Mariners got a home run from Gutierrez in the 2nd, and a double play grounder scored the 2nd run last inning. 0-2 high fastball. Into right field. That's a base hit for Cruz. Number 4 tonight for the Mariners. And here's your Sox Math question for tonight. Hashtag Sox Math on Twitter. First correct answer wins a prize. Elvis's age when he died. That's where you start. Minus the number of letters in Elvis's birth state. Then multiply the number of letters in the name of the street in Heartbreak Hotel. Then divide the sum of the numbers before Go Cat Go in Elvis's hit Blue Suede Shoes. That is your Sox Math question for tonight.
I know the street.
You do?
Yes.
Have you lived there?
Oh, a lot. I usually don't know any of them, but I know the street tonight.
Want to know on Zunino. And that's outside. 2 balls and no strikes. Can you imagine what Elvis would have done with the remaining 10, 20 years of his career? I mean, the talent level that he had, especially as a performer.
I think he would have had more years, because look at Tony Bennett, how long his career has lasted and continues to last. His voice remains magnificent. No reason to assume that had things been different for Elvis, his voice would have gone away.
Center field, Shuck driven back, still going. JB breaks the other way and makes the catch. Cruz tags and hits second as JB Shuck goes left and right for out number 1.
Well, the wind is really howling tonight. JB goes back, then he has to turn the other way, then he has to drift with it as the wind takes it. And while he's going back, Cruz realized how far this ball was hit. Zunino is awfully strong, and he got it up in the wind. Also, he hit it hard. So he was halfway at first. Then when he realized it was going to be difficult for Shuck, he went back, tagged up. He's in scoring position at second.
One down for Gutierrez, who got the Mariners on the board and takes a strike here, 0-1. Mariners with a 5-man bench, 4 lefties and a righty. Nothing and 2 on Franklin Gutierrez.
Gutierrez has a transaction sheet that seemingly lasts forever. He was signed by the Dodgers as a non-drafted free agent way back in the year 2000. Since then, well, he starred for Cleveland for a while before going to Seattle. And he's been a Mariner since leaving the Indians. When he got sick and missed 2014, he said that he just didn't want to go out with that kind of a year. He came back last year, hit .292. Granted, it was limited action, 59 games, but he did a nice job when healthy enough to play.
Goes to the back foot slider, 2-2 on Gutierrez. Now Chris Sale, 1-2-3 first, then got the next 2. And now the Mariners, who only managed 1 hit against him back in July, have 4 so far through 3 1/3. Two and 2. 2-strike foul balls. Mariners staying alive against Sale. Gutierrez here specifically. Seattle came in 67-60. That's 3 games behind Baltimore for that wild card spot number 2. Orioles are getting blasted in the Bronx tonight, 12-3. The Yankees with the lead in the home 6th. There's a fastball upstairs, and Gutierrez goes down hunting. 2 away in the 4th.
Somebody should mention to the Yankees that they're not supposed to be 5.5 games in back. They traded everybody away, so the high heat gets them. And the Yankees continue to make life miserable for anybody that plays them in the AL East.
If the Yankees win this game and they're up 9 runs in the 6th inning, they would be 3.5 games out of the wild card.
Pretty amazing. I mean, calling up some young players and having just about each and every one of them do special things, that's pretty good. Not to mention with the trades they made, they reloaded that farm system again.
Well, Judge and Austin in their first game with back-to-back homers, and there you see the standings in the AL East. And the Yankees climbing.
Yeah, the Boston's losing to Kansas City 5-1, and Baltimore getting clobbered. Put them 4.5 games back.
Toronto is leading Minnesota 7-5 in the bottom of the 6th at Rogers Center tonight.
I would say you'd have a hard time having a better start than Gary Sanchez.
Hitting for power, hitting for average. There's a strike to Adam Lind, 2-1.
You come up play less than 20 games and you hit 9 home runs. That's pretty good. I saw Aaron Judge in the Arizona Fall League. He's big and very strong.
Two balls and a strike on Lind. It's off the plate outside. So 3-1 on Adam Lind with O'Malley next. And yeah, you got a left-hander up, but Lind with his power numbers can hurt you much more than O'Malley can, at least in terms of power.
Well, odds are that if Chris just stays away, or if Lind can go that way with a slider, there's not too much coverage on the left side of the infield, with Anderson playing him pretty much straight up the middle.
In the air, left center field. Shuck, a long run. It's over his head. Cruz comes home. It's an RBI double for Adam Lind at a 3-1 pitch, and the Mariners advance their lead to 3 runs.
Adam Lind looking fastball all the way in at 3-1. He got it. Driving in run number 51 to go with his 18 homers. That's that fastball. Got way too much of the plate, and Lind, who is very strong, when he's right, he drills the ball to the opposite field. He'll pull it on a ground ball in the infield and hit it the opposite way when he hits it in the air.
He's on O'Malley, a foul ball. It's Adam Lind's first career hit against Sale. His 3rd extra base hit against the Sox in 11 at bats this year. Two strikes on O'Malley, who was hit last time up. This is game 2 of 4, Sox and Mariners. Game 3 tomorrow, 6:10 start time. Game 4 is 1:10. Taijuan Walker and Carlos Rodon. Tomorrow, Ariel Miranda versus Jose Quintana. And there's a check swing that tied them all up in knots. O'Malley strikes out. 2-out double for Adam Lind. The Mariners lead Sale on the Sox 3-0 after 3.5.
You can show your team pride with White Sox checking, an official White Sox debit card only available at your local Wintrust Community Bank. Go to wintrust.com/White Sox to learn more. Wintrust Community Bank, member FDIC.
Sox trail 3-0 tonight after 3.5. And here's Tim Anderson. Then Abreu and Morneau scheduled against Felix Hernandez. His first pitch is wayward inside. A ball, no strikes. Tim singled to left in the first. Well, we saw Felix Hernandez struggling to get to first base. The trainer came out before the previous inning to check on him, make sure he was all right. He stayed in the game, but again, the Sox got to the Mariners bullpen last night in a comeback win. And the hope would be you get a chance to do that again in an undermanned bullpen, just in terms of number of pitchers.
Well, they're not going to go with 6 pensmen long, but last night and tonight, that's been the state of the way that bullpen has been. And using 4 of them last night. One of the guys they didn't use was Edwin Diaz. He's the closer. You hope not to see him tonight, because when you do, normally it's not a real good thing.
Called strike 3. The last 2 were out of the zone according to Xfinity Pitch Tracks.
He wanted to throw this one away and the ball drifts in, and Zunino didn't think it was a strike or he wouldn't have eased it back into the zone. The reason why they're so happy with Zunino is last year their catching position had a batting average of 159 for all the guys they used behind the plate. And Zunino doing a whole lot better than that.
Well, you mentioned his penchant for the strikeout. He was over 150 strikeouts a couple of years ago.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't have any control or command of the strike zone. He just didn't know what was a strike and what wasn't. And that's why they sent him down this year, to work on that particular thing.
Marte at shortstop, 2 outs.
By the way, Gary Sanchez hit his 10th home run in 22.
Come on with
games.
that.
Yeah, pretty amazing. Pretty amazing as they still lead 12-3 over the Baltimores.
Sox are done with the Yankees this year, done with the Orioles, done with the American League East, with the exception of Tampa, who will be in here for the last series of the season prior to the 3-gamer with Minnesota to close the year. That'll be a 4-game set to begin the final homestand. Ball 1 to Morneau. I was talking to Rick Hahn before the game, and he was talking about Justin Morneau and the type of teammate he's been, the type of leader he's been with the Sox. Fly ball to left. Heredia for out number 3. Quick work by Hernandez here in the 4th. 3-0 Seattle.
Steven Matz put on the 15-day DL, retroactive back to August 15th. Left shoulder tightness. He's had a very good year this year. They also pushed back Jacob deGrom from his scheduled start. The injury report is brought to you by Dr. Anthony Romeo Orthopedics. If you have any shoulder or elbow problems, go to RomeoOrthopedics.com or call 312-432-2342.
Well, the Mets entering play today were 2 games back of the Marlins for second place in the East, who are subsequently a game back of the Cardinals, game and a half back of St. Louis. Ground ball to second. Saladino against Marte for out number 1. We owe you a Sox math answer. We'll get it to you this half inning.
Did I win?
You didn't.
No.
But you know what? Tonight is Elvis night here at the ballpark, and it
Yes.
was an Elvis-themed Sox math.
It was.
But we'll give you the Sox math answer right now.
Okay.
You ready?
Well, no, because I didn't win.
All right. Elvis's age was 42. Letters in the birth state 11, Mississippi. That's 31 times 6. Lonely Street, Lonely. Numbers in Go Cat after Go Cat Go, before Go Cat Go, I should say, were 1 for the money, 2 for the show, 3 to get ready. The answer is 6 there. The answer overall is 31, and Will Aguina is your winner tonight.
Nice job.
Yeah.
Will.
Congratulations to Will. So tonight's Elvis night, right? And the Sox pick Elvis night a long time prior to, there's your answer again, prior to the season. What the Sox probably didn't know is today is the birthday of Rangers infielder Elvis Andrus. There's a ground ball to first to bring you the recovery, and there's out number 2.
That was a terrific play by Jose Abreu. I wasn't sure he could possibly get it there because Martin has good speed. The only thing is, it doesn't look like Martin was really beating it out of the box. I think had he might have been able to beat the play. Chris Sale getting over in time. No, he's running pretty good. He just can't get there. Good solid play after the bobble. Quick recovery by Jose. And good on the other end by Chris Sale.
2 down for Guillermo Heredia. Well, there's strike number 1. So today is Elvis Andrus' birthday.
It's also Dog Day.
National
Dog Day.
Yeah.
So we obviously can't have Bark at the Park along with Elvis Day and Elvis Andrus' birthday. Can't have it all in the same day.
It's a lot on the calendar at once.
Yeah. But we're trying to break the Guinness Book of Record for canines at the ballpark in the coming Dog Day.
You think we can do it?
I think we can. It's minimum of 1,000, which is for the most part 4,000 legs.
One and 2 from Sale. It's inside. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Breaking ball lofted left side. Avi is in. Anderson's out. Avi. They both made the call. Avi's got the ball. 3-0 Mariners.
Fifth Third Bank now get access to over 45,000 fee-free ATMs nationwide. Oh, that is a handsome Elvis gear. That is not the man that you met, the $9.99 Elvis.
Yeah, I met the just below $10 Elvis downstairs. He introduced himself as essentially the cut rate Elvis. It's not him either, but those are nice glasses.
And he's got an Elvis watch on.
Jerry the King Lawler.
Could very possibly be.
0-2 on Frazier. You know, it never fails to amaze how many people dress up as Elvis, and it has been decades since he passed away.
Yep. The most amazing part of it is most of those people have those clothes in their closet, waiting for assorted Elvis nights around the city. Because there's not just one. You can wear that out any number of places.
And if you gerrymander it properly, you could wear the same thing for Star Wars night tomorrow night.
Depending on the headgear. Yes.
2-2 on Todd.
By the way, we made a quick check of all the promotion nights. September 13th against the Cleveland Indians is Bark at the Park.
Best dog-related baseball name. You feel like former Philadelphia Philly outfielder Darren Ruff should be invited to all Bark in the Park nights. Floated towards short and over the head of the Mariners infield. Cano was shifted, still couldn't get there, and Frazier with a leadoff single. Hit the beach December 3rd with Ron Kittle, Harold Baines, and some of your favorite White Sox players. Travel to Iberostar Playa Mita in Riviera Nayarit, Mexico for a week of fun activities and VIP events. Visit applevacations.com/White Sox to book. One on, nobody out for Omar Narvaez. Omar rips it into right field. That's a base hit, and suddenly the tying run's approaching. 2 on, nobody out.
Narvaez continues to be very impressive, getting an opportunity every now and then. Now he'll get a lot more opportunity with Navarro traded to Toronto. And Omar has made the most of it. 1 for 2 tonight, came in hitting .333. And that's going to go up by a point or so.
To .342 actually, with him being so young in his career.
It's going up alarmingly.
2 on. Nobody out for Garcia in what the Sox hope to be a lucrative 5th inning. Strike 1 from Felix Hernandez.
You'd like to make sure you pick on a pitch that's above the belt. Last thing you want is a ground ball, unless you're going to hit it hard enough to get it through.
Right field, Gutierrez for out number 1. Frazier tags from first and gets to third. From second to third. So first and third for the Sox with 1 out here in the 5th.
Good heads-up base running play by Todd Frazier. Gutierrez, not familiar with this wind here, not as familiar as he should be, was actually backing up, so there was no way he could get enough on the throw. And so he just scooted into third base, putting runners at the corners.
For J.B. Shuck, who singled on the infield his first time. Wrapped foul. I mean, for Felix Hernandez, he was a guy who's not terribly used to having base runners on against him. 2 years ago, his walks and hits per innings pitched was under 1, which is just a wild number for a starting pitcher. .915.
especially when you take into consideration a guy who has lost the real big fastball that he had early in his career.
Popped up foul by Shuck. Well, we've seen a lot of pitchers do it. You did it. You have to lean on guile when the fastball velocity goes away.
Yeah, you really have no choice, and he has such a big advantage because he can throw that high changeup. The motion of his changeup is so good, and the arm velocity is so good that you can't read the changeup. So he'll get away with more high changeups than just about anybody around, and we've seen it again tonight.
0-2. Second base, Cano. Double play. Omar caught off the bag, inning over. Sox strand one, 5 deep, 3-0.
Line drive right at Cano at second base, and it is the third bad base running play of the night. You get doubled off, taken out of the inning, and Narvaez is doubled up. Yikes. Speed Replay is brought to you by Xfinity. Xfinity X1 will change the way you experience TV.
You know what else has changed the way you experience TV? Time elapsing. It's a foul ball. Today's the anniversary of the first ever television broadcast of a baseball game back in 1939.
Really?
Happy anniversary, Steve. You were there.
It was
You had
great.
the call for W2XBS.
You know, I thought the game was going to be rained out for a moment.
You did.
What a sigh of relief when they actually played that.
It was as you'll recall, it was the Reds and the Dodgers at Ebbets Field.
Was the game in color?
It was definitely in black and white. 2 strikes on Cano, 0 for 2. There were 2 stationary camera angles. The first camera was down the third base line to get the throws to first because of all the plays at first base. And the second camera was high above home plate. So this camera you're seeing right now was not there. So close your eyes. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Cano had no interest in trekking to first. And 1 away. Now we have all these cameras for Jim Angio to pick from to watch this strikeout.
Good slider away. He took a little something off, and Cano goes down on strikes for the second time. It hasn't been the best of nights for him. A couple of strikeouts and a ground ball to first.
One out for Nelson Cruz. Well, that telecast, by the way, was a centerpiece of the 1939 World's Fair. You've never been a fair exhibit, have you?
No, but I'll tell you what. I was thinking about purchasing a Dumont.
You were.
Is it still in business?
The Dumont Network, I believe, is airing McClintock 24 hours a day. In your brain.
It was a good, solid TV.
2-1, Chopper, third base side. That is a foul ball. Hey, come see the White Sox take on the Seattle Mariners tomorrow, 6:10 p.m. All fans are invited to stay for a spectacular postgame fireworks show presented by Magellan Corporation. For tickets, 866-SOX-GAME or visit whitesox.com.
I'd like to send along best wishes and a happy retirement to Ronald Weber, one of the failings of guards we have up in the booth. He is going to retire, and this will be his last night. He looks great in his Elvis regalia he picked tonight as being the swan song, but we wish him well and a very happy retirement, and come back and see us whenever you get a chance.
Always a smiling face out there guarding our door with Allen. There are two people to guard the door to the press box.
And justifiably so.
Yeah.
You're a little shaky, so I could see where that would eventually be a problem.
In which ways specifically? We've got time. There's only one out. 2-2 from Sale. And he gets a swinging strike 3 from Nelson Cruz. 2 away in this 6th inning. 7 strikeouts. 1 in every inning except for the 5th.
That was a good changeup, and Chris has not thrown quite as many changeups this year with 2 strikes as he had in years past. His changeup is awfully good, and who knows, maybe early he didn't have a feel for it, but he's thrown his changeup 6.7% of the time on 2 strike counts this year. That's the lowest of all major league qualifying starting pitchers. And you know, at first you would say, well, maybe he doesn't have confidence in it, but it's so good, it's so tough to hit, you can't read it because the motion is the same. Yet he's gone away from that pitch.
He threw it quite a bit, just looking at the numbers the last couple of years, to right-handers on 2 strikes away.
Yeah, I mean that's usually what you do. A lot of left-handers just refuse to throw it to left-handers, although I think it's effective. But Chris used to throw it quite a bit to right-hand hitters.
The overall number for the year, it was 27% changeup use last year overall, not just on 2 strikes. 14% for the year coming into tonight's. Ball and 2 strikes on Zunino. He takes ball 2.
There is a tribute to Elvis. You can stop in the gift shop and take a look at the wonderful display.
See you later, Mike Zunino. Sale strikes out the side. 5.5 gone. 3-0 Seattle. Baseball presented by Woolworths and Bromo Seltzer. Nothing wrong with your television. We're just celebrating an anniversary here. First televised Major League Baseball game back in 1939. And we've gone monochrome. Now the magic of color will pop into your picture at some point down the line.
That's the other angle, though.
Those are the two angles that you could see, the high home and the third base side, just so you can see all the plays over at first base. Can you imagine watching a baseball game from those two angles?
I can imagine if it was the first game ever done and you happen to have a television. I can imagine that was pretty exciting.
This is foul. So strike one on Saladino. And let's transport you to 2016, where there's color and grass and dirt and a score bug and Xfinity and WGN Sports, all of which did not exist in 1939.
And many cameras with all kinds of angles.
Like that one where you can zoom in on Tyler Saladino's mustache.
That would be an awfully good rock band.
People are scrambling to buy tickets right now for Tyler Saladino's mustache. Ball and 2 strikes on the Sox second baseman.
4 singles collected against Felix Hernandez.
Two balls, 2 strikes on Saladino. By the way, that mustache has lasted longer than I think some imagined for the year. It's in it for the long haul. Two and two. Swing and a miss. Strike 3. You know what else they didn't have back in 1939, Steve Stone?
They didn't have a lot of things.
They didn't have sticks and stone. It was not yet invented. How'd you do against Tom Paciorek?
I killed him.
Did you?
Absolutely killed him. That was one of the guys. Boy, I was really hoping you would eventually, in a 4-game series, slap him up there one time.
There is Wimpy.
Tommy Boy, who was both a partner of you, of me, and of Hawk periodically.
Lined into right, 2 away.
But he was a right-hander. He hit from a crouch. He was a very good hitter. He wound up with a very nice career. Talented guy out of Detroit. His family were great athletes. But for some reason, I had his number. And I remember those numbers because I used to remind him of them every time I saw him.
Oh, did you really?
Oh, sure.
That's upstanding of you.
Well, it's the least I could do. It helps relationships. That's why I never talked to Jim Rice.
2 down for Anderson. And Hernandez misses for ball 1. .68 pitches for Felix Hernandez through 5 2/3 tonight of shutout ball. Left of center, Leonis Martin snatches out number 3. And we'll go to the 7th inning. 3-0 Mariners with the lead. 3-0 Mariners after 6 tonight. It's Franklin Gutierrez, Adam Lind, and Sean O'Malley coming up for Seattle as Sale fires in a strike. The Mariners have a run in the second, a run in the third, and a run in the fourth. And that has been more than enough tonight, with Felix Hernandez being seamless through 6.
Felix Hernandez, even though the trainer had to come out and they had to talk about whatever was ailing him, and I had a feeling it was probably his legs, he knew that he had to go deep in the game because of the short bullpen. And so he's given his manager exactly what he needed. And it doesn't look like he's going to let up anytime soon. He's gotten a whole lot of pitches over the plate, and the straight change has been somewhat unhittable.
One, two. That's called strike 3. 4 straight punch outs for Sale. Here's your sticks and stone answer for tonight. You said you demolished Tom Paciorek. Wimpy versus Stone. Yeah.
4 for 26.
That's a butt whooping.
Yeah, that was one of my guys. If they only allowed right-hand hitters.
And there he is right there, Tom Paciorek.
Tom is a funny guy. A very funny guy.
He has that ability to light up a room, doesn't he?
Yep. Well, he did a good job. He did a good job with me, and did a nice job with you in Miami.
You guys were fun to listen to. I enjoyed that.
I mean, he's one of those guys that still stays attached to the game, even though he hadn't broadcast a game in 2 years. So that was really nice of him to hop aboard when Hawk was under the weather. But Tommy always a favorite here, so it was nice. Worked out well.
2-1. There's that nasty breaking ball. 2-2 for Adam Lind, who doubled home a run with 2 out in the 4th. Two. Strike 3 again. That's 5 in a row for Sale, and his second 10 strikeout game of the year.
Vic Carapaz's got a big plate, and Chris Sale has taken advantage of it. Got very good stuff tonight. He's up to 96 pitches. If you're going to strike out double figures, you're going to take a few extra pitches, and he hasn't walked anybody yet.
O'Malley, a foul ball. Join us for a children-only pregame autograph session Sunday, August 28th. Purchase this special ticket and participate in an exclusive autograph session with select members of the White Sox. Visit whitesox.com/autographs. Ball and a strike on O'Malley. Still looking for his first hit against the Sox this year. He is 0 for 13. Ball and 2 strikes.
Well, Chris is in a good rhythm right now, and all Omar has to do is just get him the ball when he gets it. Chris wants to get on the mound and throw it.
Just missed. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Right at 100 pitches tonight for Sale. Two. Strike 3 again. My goodness. 6 in a row for Sale. 11 total for the game, a season high.
schedule around Major League Baseball.
The Yankees are just pouring it on Baltimore, 14-3 in the 8th. Toronto 12-5 leaders over Minnesota. So with that lead, and if that Kansas City-Boston score stays the same, the Blue Jays will be in first place all by their lonesome when they wake up tomorrow. Cleveland leading Texas 3-0 after a rough loss yesterday for the Indians. The Astros with a 3-2 advantage in other AL West play as the Mariners try to catch those Rangers. National League scores for you as well. St. Louis hanging around in the wild card in the National League. And later on, the Dodgers, Cubs, Atlanta, and San Francisco in a game that would have decided the National League West many years.
And don't forget, Kansas City is one of the hottest teams in baseball. They have figured out a way, with a couple of devastating injuries to that bullpen, to put it together, and the pen now has been close to unhittable recently.
Tapper foul, 1-1. You know, with the injuries with Hochevar and Davis we've talked about before, and not a whole lot of help, it seemed, in the back end of the bullpen. They had a couple guys that they were going to rely on. They have some live arms coming up from AAA.
No, they're putting things together very well, and they couldn't get hotter at a better time because this is when everything is going to be decided. So they found a way to go through their slump. Now they find themselves 5 games over 500, winners of 9 of their last 10, dominating at home. They're 40-21 in Kansas City.
Abreu goes up the ladder to punch that ball to right field, and a leadoff single for the Sox. The Xfinity fundamentals above left field at U.S. Cellular Field is accessible from the 100, 300, and 500 levels. Learn baseball from White Sox Training Academy coaches in the batting and pitching cages and base running areas. Check out the latest Xfinity technology, including the X1 platform, X1 by Xfinity. It'll change the way you experience TV. Leadoff man aboard, second time in 3 innings for the Sox, and here is Morneau. There's nothing for 2. On the ground, Cano, Marte, double play.
Hernandez knew that he needed a ground ball. He kept the ball down, got the ground ball, and a pretty easy 4-6-3. Cano has one of the best second baseman arms around, and Marte came across the bag, made it pretty easy at first. So they didn't take long after the single by Abreu. The double play, and it's 2 outs in the 7th, and King Felix sailing right along. Chris Sale's been terrific tonight, but unfortunately, Sox offense is having a hard time with one of the league's best. We knew it would be a great pitching matchup, and it's turned out to be pretty much of that, maybe a little bit more.
Ball leaks inside, ball and a strike on Frazier. Here's Sale, who's made it through 7 innings tonight, allowing just 3 runs. Hoping the offense can pick him up. 1-1 in the dirt. 77 pitches for Felix Hernandez. Economically sound.
Well, he comes right at you. You don't miss a lot of his pitches, so you're going to make some contact, but you just can't square them up because they're never in the middle of the plate, or very rarely in the middle of the plate. Take a look at the most pitches he's thrown in any one inning, the 2nd inning, and that's when the leadoff walk to Frazier turned into a pickoff and out of the inning.
Foul ball, third base side, and that's strike 2, count full on Frazier. Beautiful night for baseball here at U.S. Cellular Field. Jason Benetti, Steve Stone, our entire crew. In this, the 7th inning. Sox have hit into 2 double plays, had a couple runners picked off tonight. Pitch number 7 on Frazier. Pitch foul, just touched behind home plate. 3-2. Drive deep left field. So much for that shutout. Oh my goodness, did Frazier lay into one.
This is Todd's favorite team. And he absolutely crushed that ball. 32nd home run, 81st driven in. Our 4th drive of the game is a monster shot. It's a fastball right down the middle and up. And Todd Frazier rode it well out of the yard. Brought to you by Ford. You can visit your local Ford store or buyfordnow.com.
Todd Frazier memorized all of his individual handshakes very well. And with that home run, another generous donation from the Alex Nellius family in loving memory of Ursula.
Sox came back from 3 down last night and won it in the bottom of the 9th in a thriller. They were 3 down tonight before that towering home run.
2nd homer of the year for Frazier against Felix Hernandez. He got him last time in the 1st inning back in Seattle in July. Lifted foul by Narvaez, 1-2. So 32 home runs for Frazier, 4 of which have come against Seattle. That's exactly an 1/8 of his output for the year in 5 games.
Pretty amazing.
1-2. Ricocheted foul.
Well, there's a perfect example when you're having good luck against a team. The 3-2 pitch before, I mean, he barely caught the top seam. He was over the top of it, caught the top seam, fouled it off to stay alive. Then Felix goes away from the changeup to a fastball that's right in the sweet spot, and he hits it a mile.
Marte to the right of his normal position for round number 3, but Frazier gets the Sox on the board in a lunar way. 3-1 Mariners after 7.
Red Sox about hit the Mariners 6-5. Been an errorless game. Sale through 7, 11 strikeouts, no walks. New season high. Frazier with a solo home run, his 32nd. Get the Honda you love with the Honda Summer Clearance Sale now at your Honda dealer.
Pitch to Marte, ball number 1. Sale, by the way, his career high in strikeouts has happened twice. 15, the number. This ball in play ends up with Tim Anderson and 1 down in the 8th. See your name in lights at an upcoming White Sox game. Celebrate a birthday, anniversary, and more with a scoreboard message. Proceeds benefit White Sox charities. To book your message, visit whitesox.com/scoreboard. There's the scoreboard. And there could be your message.
Good looking scoreboard.
Strike 1 to Leonis Martin.
Do you have the winning number for the Sox split tonight?
7-10.
Nope.
Well, that's my favorite split.
Yeah, but if you had J206729, you would be over $12,000 richer.
Good swing and a miss, strike 3. Sale with his 12th punch out tonight. Let's play our second fastest growing sensation in America. 6 Degrees of Luke Appling, who played in 1949 with Max Sircon, who played with Hoyt Wilhelm, who was Tom Pachorik's teammate with the Dodgers in 1971, who played with Kevin Brown with the Rangers in 1986, who was Robinson Cano's teammate in this game, Robbie Cano, in 2005. Appling to Cano, just like that.
It's hard to believe that you could connect those folks.
But you can.
That long a time. You can, I know. You did.
Ground ball to short. And a rapid fire inning for Sale, getting it right back to the offense in the home 8th. Garcia, Shuck, Saladino coming your way.
With Robin by logging on to WGNTV.com and click on the WGN Sports Game Zone banner for the latest stats and information. Sox Game Zone is powered by Dodd Camera, family owned for 125 years, handling all your photographic needs. Dodd Camera, where the focus is on you.
Right now, Felix Hernandez is center stage for the Mariners, who lead 3-1. He will face Avi Garcia, JB Shuck, Tyler Saladino in this 8th inning. And there's a ground ball through the right side for Avi. The Sox have a leadoff single for the 3rd time in 4 innings. Felix Hernandez trying to get through 8 with 2 earned runs or fewer for the 89th time in his career. These are active pitchers, and Hernandez has put quite a bit of distance between himself and the next.
Bartolo Colon certainly is not going to do that. CC is throwing the ball pretty well this year. Actually, a rebound year for him. Kershaw just starting to come back from being disabled for quite some time. Cole Hamels still has a ways to go.
88 pitches deep. JB Shuck, the batter against Hernandez, and ball number 1. If you think Felix is being economical tonight, you're right. However, 2 of his 25 complete games have come at 95 pitches or fewer, and both against the Angels.
Well, he's only walked 1 man. That was quickly erased on a pickoff, and that was Todd Frazier leading off the second. Felix knows that he's got to get through 8 because he wants to leave Edwin Diaz with just 3 outs to cover if they choose to take him out. It's been 7+ to this point. 1 walk, the 1 earned run, 5 strikeouts.
Say the Sox cobble together a hit here from Shuck, put a couple runners on. Do you turn to Diaz?
No, I don't. And I don't think Scott Service will.
You're playing for the long haul, being the reason.
I just think that he's one of the best pitchers in baseball, and he's handcuffed the White Sox to this point. I don't think Scott Service takes him out until Felix intimates to him that he's run out of gas.
1-2 on the ground. Cano at second gets 1.
Cano was trying to figure out a way to get the ball and turn it into 2, but he made the catch and then used the backhand flip. This is a good play, but he didn't want to make a blind flip, because the last thing you want to do in that situation is flip the ball wide of the bag into left field and open it up for a big inning. So he took his time, was careful with the backhand flip, and he got it to Marte.
Tyler Saladino now the tying run. 3-1 Mariners, 1 out in the home 8th.
Bullpen is starting to stir for the first time tonight.
0-1 on Saladino.
It is Chris Beck in the Sox pen, and I would assume it would be Diaz in the Seattle pen. He's a young man we saw in Seattle that had unbelievably good stuff, and that was before they made him the closer.
Two strikes on Saladino, and here's a look at the Mariner bullpen and that electric right arm.
There he is, and last 3 times out he's been struggling. So Scott Service gave him a night off, and then it turned into 2 nights off. And now he figures to get in this game somewhere.
Oh, 2. Into the Sox dugout. Adam Eaton would be next. Tim Anderson to follow. Oh, 2 from Hernandez. In the dirt, 1 ball, 2 strikes. Now 96 pitches for Felix Hernandez. Was given up a base runner tonight in all but 2 innings. One and 2. On the ground and through. Base hit with 2 strikes for Saladino, moving Shuck to second base.
Now things start to get interesting, because you've got Adam Eaton, who hit the ball very hard last time up, with an opportunity to make things a little more interesting in the ball game. Tyler takes it through the left side. And Scott Service sitting just where he is on the bench. Sitting next to his pitching coach. Both in agreement that they're going to let their ace sink or swim this inning.
Eaton's 0 for 3 tonight, and he takes ball number 1 from Hernandez. Again, a short bullpen in terms of numbers for Seattle, and we saw 4 guys last night. One 0 is down and in. 2 balls, no strikes. And a visit from Zunino to Hernandez. And here comes another to join the party.
This is Mel Stottlemyre. He knows he's got a man in the bullpen that is striking people out at an unbelievable pace. 66 strikeouts in 36 innings for Edwin Diaz. And what he wants him to do, by going out there and just having a word with Felix, he wants him to get another 10 to 15 pitches in the bullpen until Vic Carapazza is going to break it up. So Mel stayed out there as long as he could. Carapazza went out to break it up. Diaz got an extra, well, let's say 10 to 15 pitches in the interim on the way out and the way back. And he appears to be ready to go.
It's a big pitch in the game right here. 2-0 on Eaton.
Yep. Change
balls
up
and a strike.
It's the best he's got. That's his comfort pitch. And he had Adam well out in front of it. See very few guys with an 88-mile-an-hour changeup and a 92-mile-an-hour fastball, but that's what it is.
Three balls and a strike for Eaton. Anderson next. First and second, 1 out. As the Sox just broke the shutout last inning on a Frazier homer. Now Eaton trying to plunge the Sox into a tie with a gapper here. 3-1. Called a strike.
That one borderline. It went King Felix's way. Adam, no complaint.
Saladino at first, Shuck at second. 3-2 for Eaton. On the ground and foul.
He went to the fastball, which is somewhat surprising to me. I thought he was going to go to the straight change. He kept it out of the zone. For Adam, it's too close to take. You don't want to leave this in the hands of Vic Carapazza. So he was up there protecting and able to foul it off and see another pitch.
Everything low this at bat for Eaton.
Felix wants to throw a ground ball, and that's why everything has been in the spot it's been in.
3-2. That's up. Ball 4.
Now I would think that would be it. Now you go to Diaz because now you need at least 1 strikeout. So here comes Scott Service. He's gone 104 pitches with Felix. And I think out of all the sequences that he was frustrated with, that walk to Eaton was the one that convinced Scott Service it was time to go to Diaz. So as he comes trotting in, we'll step out and be back after these messages. And the call to the pen brought to you by AT&T, mobilizing your world. And there you look at some otherworldly numbers. 10 for 10 in save opportunities, 2.25 ERA on for the 36th time, 66 strikeouts in 36 innings. He's got a very lively fastball, but lately he's been missing location. Struggled 3 times in a row. Let's see what he comes back with tonight.
Tim Anderson, bases loaded, and a touch foul. Tim 0 for 4 in his major league career with the bases loaded so far.
And what Diaz will do if he is having location problems with his fastball, and it's a big fastball, he'll go to his comfort pitch, which is the slider.
Fouled away at 99.
99 upstairs, tough to catch up to.
Shuck at third, Saladino at second, Eaton with a walk at first. Nasty stuff on the mound with the right-hander Diaz. On the ground, third base side in trouble. O'Malley comes home. Out.
Well, what a great play. What a great play by O'Malley. He only had one play. He knew he couldn't possibly get Anderson at first base. He came in with a bare hand and threw to Zunino. And it looked in real time like he got him. Just a huge effort. Let's see if in fact they did get him. Oh, he's out by plenty. The fans are booing because it was a swipe tag and he didn't hit him. What they don't realize is his foot was on the plate and it's a force out. So don't boo. He's out. Foot on home plate.
Tremendous play by O'Malley.
Tremendous play, and it could be, and you never know, could be a game saver.
Abreu. High in the air, third base side. Oh boy. Diaz gets out of it. Bases left loaded. 3-1 after 8. Chris Sale embarks on the 9th inning against Robinson Cano after Edwin Diaz maneuvered out of a major jam in the home 8th. The Sox had bases loaded, 1 out, and couldn't solve the young right-hander for the Mariners, who threw only 4 pitches to get 2 outs. And thanks certainly to his defense and Sean O'Malley.
Boy, that play at third was something, one of the better plays we've seen this year, because he had only the one play, knew that that's where he had to go, and got it there, and eyelash before Shuck.
Sale pours over a strike, 2-1. So it's Cano up here, then two right-handers, Cruz, Zunino, and then Gutierrez, if necessary, is a right-hander as well. See how far Sale gets. Still some snap on that slider. 2-2.
Chris Sale would have to tell me that he's had enough in this game tonight, because he's been brilliant. You want to give him a chance to win, and again, if he says he can't go, that's one thing.
Foul ball, still 2-2. 12 strikeouts, a season high by a pair. 3 short of his career high of 15, which he's done twice. Two and two. Clipped foul.
Well, you would think one more of those sliders away and Cano would go down for the third time on strikes tonight.
Two and two. Sale lets her rip and terminates Cano again. Strike 3, the 13th strikeout for Sale.
He just reached back. He got a fastball. He didn't even bother with the slider. Good fastball. And Cano probably thinking the same way I was. You know, the slider's got to be coming. He's got me on it all night. Couldn't catch up with the fastball.
Chris Sale's the type of guy that you just love watching pitch. Even if you lose a game, you say, boy, we watched something special tonight.
Well, one of the great battlers in all of baseball. Yes, he's got very good stuff, but that competitive nature comes out every time he's challenged. Tonight, he's just worked rapid fire, anywhere from 9, 10, 11 seconds between pitches, and he's gotten it. He's thrown it. More times than not, he's gotten them out. Last man to reach base, the double in the 4th inning by Adam Lynn.
The assembly line continues. 14 strikeouts for Sale.
And again, I applaud Robin for this. You let your ace go as long as he can go. He's got to tell you that he doesn't want to go any longer. Give him a chance to win. That changeup away from Cruz, just outstanding. What a night by Chris Sale. He's been brilliant. Unfortunately, to this point, he's on the short end, and a golden opportunity got away in the 8th.
Strike 1 on Zunino, who has struck out twice tonight, but who hasn't?
Marte.
It's a short list. Lynn,
That's
Marte.
it.
Oh, who hasn't struck out once?
Marte hasn't struck out at all, which is somewhat amazing against Sale tonight.
Contact. Sky high contact. Saladino underneath. Chris Sale. 14 strikeouts. Will it be his 5th complete game? Will it be a win? Find out next.
14 strikeouts, no walks, a brilliant game that he's currently trailing, but not before he struck out 14 Mariners. Last hit in the 4th inning. There you look at some gaudy numbers. Unfortunately, a 3 spot leaves him too short. Heading into the bottom of the 9th inning, wrap your hands around the official Italian beat for the Chicago White Sox at one of the 19 Bona locations.
It would be Sale's 5th complete game of the year, his 13th of his career. And Justin Morneau will start the 9th for the Sox. And 2 balls and no strikes. You said it, Diaz has been chancy his last couple of outings for the Mariners. Gave up a walk and a hit on Monday against the Yankees. 2-0. Bullet for a strike.
Well, you just have to hope that he opens up that front shoulder, because if he does, if he opens up too quickly, he's going to leave it high and away to all the left-handers and up and into the right-handers.
That was up and fouled away.
Yeah, seemingly like that.
Nori Aoki into left for the Mariners. Guy who struggled at times.
I was going to say, not known as a great defender, but he's coming in for defense.
2-2. 7-iron foul by Morneau.
Well, that time that was an emergency hack. Heredia has shifted over to right field. Gutierrez has left the game.
2-2. Diaz to Morneau. He got him. Strike 3. The slider. You can follow White Sox baseball live with the MLB.com at Bat app. Stay up to the moment at any moment with game day, live game video highlights, StatCast, news, and more. Download MLB.com at Bat, the #1 app for live baseball on your phone and tablet. One down for Todd Frazier, who handled Felix Hernandez tonight for the home run most recently, and he takes strike 1 from Diaz. Can't help but feel like the big chance was in the 8th inning.
Yeah, but for a spectacular play, that's a completely different inning. But Sean O'Malley turned in the play of the night. One of the better plays we've seen. And it helped get Diaz out of the inning.
Diaz isn't one of those guys that comes in and you say, oh, we should have gotten to him.
No, because not one player. Now, Sox haven't seen a great deal of him, and when they saw him in Seattle, he wasn't the closer. But we looked at the stuff and went, wow, that guy is a closer in waiting. Nobody had any idea that he would be a closer this soon. But 10 for 10 in saves.
And 1 out short here. Back-to-back strikeouts of Morneau and Frazier.
Our Mazda replay, and take a look again. O'Malley is coming in on the play. He's only got one play. He can't get Anderson at first base. He's got very little angle on the throw, so he has to throw it to the first base side of the plate. And it gets there for the force out ahead of J.B. Shuck. Just a wonderful play.
That can go awry one of 6 ways.
Yeah, I mean, you know you got to throw it to the first base side of the plate. You hope your catcher sets up there. He did. Everything went perfect. And you get a guy on the mound throwing 100 miles an hour with a Snapdragon slider that nobody can hit.
1 strike on Narvaez. 0-2.
Triple digits again.
Chris Sale with strikeout mastery tonight. Brilliant stuff. But Felix Hernandez currently on the winning end. 2 strikes. And there is strike 3 and win #1 in the series for the Mariners as Diaz strikes out the side. What a pitcher's duel tonight.
It was wonderfully entertaining. Last night we saw a lot of offense. Tonight we saw a lot of pitching. And King Felix was very good. Chris Sale was just outstanding. Someone had to lose, and unfortunately it was Chris Sale. There was some very shaky base running tonight. It helped Felix get out of a couple of situations. And at the end, Edwin Diaz was absolutely unhittable. So, second game of the series goes to the Mariners.
3-1. We'll wrap it coming next.